Hi everybody, and welcome to Indigo Sky Holistic. I'm Davina Ketson, intuitive healer, holistic therapist, and Reiki teacher, as well as many other things. You can check out the rest of my YouTube channel for more of what I do and what I'm offering, particularly the Rest, Surrender, Trust process, which is in launch now at the moment and starts for the group of people who are joining me for that in September. But there is pre-care work, pre-care support dropping already, including just like all the details about how the process came to me, and then further on this month there will be meditation dropping in and some tips for nurturing advice that will be really supportive for those who are joining me in that through the course of September to February. So today's little bit of juice which has come to me is around our subconscious mind and our subconscious beliefs. So when I was journaling this morning, I was sort of like checking with like those parts of myself that are not this life and this lifetime. So you might call it my soul, you might call it my higher self, you might just call it spirit or source or whatever you want to call it. But I sort of like try and get my conscious mind out of the way and ask like questions of like, what do I need to know? What's the message that's here for me today? What do I need to take forward into the day? And like the first words that popped into my head today were the path you seek isn't hard to find, or something like that. And immediately, like surprise for indoctrinated religious cult past me, the first words that popped into my head were from a passage in the Bible that I grew up having down my ear like many times a week probably, that narrow is the gate and cramped is the road leading off into life. If you know anything about the Bible, if you're Christian, you've probably heard that. It is something that is attributed to Jesus Christ having said. And wow, this like popped in my head immediately. Like the wisdom that dropped into me was like, the path you seek is like easy, or should be easy. And immediately my subconscious mind just dropped in with like, no it's not. Like what the fuck. And then I was like, wow, subconscious patterning. You know, I've been on this journey of repatterning my mind for gosh, at least 7 years. I haven't considered myself a Christian in that kind of way for close to 15 years, maybe longer, maybe somewhere between 10 and 15 years. I'm not quite sure. Like, I'm not quite sure when I decided I didn't fit in that. And then I've been on like a real deep healing, releasing journey for releasing that for the last 7 years or so. But that subconscious patterning, wow. And that then I then wrote like how that's why, like, when we've been so conditioned and programmed from birth literally by the world around us, how that subconscious patterning has got roots in our neurophysiological parts of us, and in our like literally in our brain we have that subconscious pattern in there, and it's like okay, right. And how do we release that when we know it's inaccurate? And this can be, subconscious patterning can come from just like the things that that are repeated to us when we're little. Like this is where I don't want to call it abuse, because for most people it isn't abuse, but this is where those words that are fed our young people are when you're toddlers, when young people go to school, the words that they're fed that are not consciously fed them in an abusive way. They're just words that are said to them. Like, for example, one of the things that was like I took on board for me at school was that my handwriting was bad. And it was like I all sorts of things happen to me at school because my handwriting was bad, like being made to write over and over again, which is like not the solution to bad handwriting, trust me. Because I was like at school in the 80s, corporal punishment hadn't been ended, so I was actually physically punished at school for bad handwriting. Like, imagine having bad handwriting, or what the teacher defines as bad handwriting, because, like, have you ever seen a doctor's handwriting? Whatever the teacher defined as poor handwriting for what, a 6-7-year-old. I'm fairly sure corporal punishment was banned in schools by the time I was 8. So it was in the infant. So that's what now, like years 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2, reception 1 and 2. I was actually physically hit on my hand by the teacher's hand. Like, she would have us at the front of the class holding our hands out to get our hands slapped. Like, it's crazy to think about it now, but this is what was happening. And this is what I get for poor handwriting at like 6-year-old. And like, that story, again, that's one of the things. I mean, it's one that is not like, it doesn't bother me. It's not one that holds me back. Like, it certainly doesn't stop me from writing now. But it did. For many years, I didn't write because, like, it clearly had this impact on me that, you know, I shouldn't write. And I would type stuff rather than write stuff. Although I did write in, like, high school. I hand wrote stories, you know. I was in high school a long time ago, before word processors were really a big thing, although I did also write stories on a word processor. But yeah, it wasn't that it totally stopped me from writing, but as I think about it now and think about conditioning, programming and the subconscious mind and stuff, it's like it did actually impact me. Things that happened to me with regards to having had my privacy invaded, having my diaries read for various reasons that I won't go into now. It stopped me from journaling for a long time. I wouldn't write, and I think that's actually one reason why my handwriting is bad when I journal now, is because if I know that if my handwriting is bad, people can't read it, and my handwriting is good, or if I type it on something, then I know that people can read it, because that's like a thing that happened to me. Anyway, back to the subconscious patterning. We, all of us, no matter how well brought up in a family dynamic, there's then the external influences that are impacted on like everybody, from like the youngest to the oldest people alive. Like, it doesn't matter how nurturing and caring and compassionate a family may be, there is still that outside. You cannot protect, and I don't think you should be protecting or trying to stop outside influences from coming into, like, the minds of young people, because they have the ability and the ways of filtering through. Like, they'll know if you're trying to hide shit from them. They'll know on some energetic level that you're trying to hide things from them. So for me, as a mum, it's always been a case of, how can I share without potentially overly conditioning to my point of view and my way of thinking, but how can I offset things that are being said from other sources to minimize the impact on their mental and emotional well-being long term? It's like such a challenge as a holistic therapist, as somebody who's well aware of how mental health like difficulties arise from, like, being aware of how, like, the subconscious mind works and how psychology works, and like it's really tricky to know that everything that you ever say or do is being patterned subconsciously into your own offspring. Like, that's like such a wow. It's one of those things that you have to let go of, because you cannot always watch everything that you do or say and prevent them from being conditioned or having, like, patterns programmed into them that maybe we'd rather they didn't have. or we know that they're going to have to unravel and decondition and change later on. But you're doing the best that you can with what you've got and with the knowledge you've got, and when you know better, you do better, and all of those amazing and beautiful things. When it comes to the subconscious mind and our subconscious mind as grown-ups, as adults now, it's worth remembering, and as I finished journaling on this morning, it was like the important thing to remember is what has been imprinted on our subconscious mind was often imprinted over a long period of time, possibly daily, possibly 2 or 3 times a week, possibly over and over again for 10 years, 20 years, depending on what the conditioning is. It might be 2, 3, 4, 5 decades of subconscious patterning saying, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you have to work hard, you have to behave a certain way to be liked, you have to do everything that everybody's asking you to, or you won't get a reward. Like the list of programming, indoctrinating words that can be told us is like never ending. So that's why to reprogram and repattern the subconscious mind is going to take an amount of time. Like, it's great to know that in the quantum field anything is possible in any moment and that you can make a decision. Oftentimes the people who make dramatic changes have something like a near-death experience to reach that, or a profound moment of realization. But usually there's been a period before that where there has been this reprogramming going on, this repatterning going on, this like, I don't want to believe this is the case for me anymore. And I'm going to start looking at how I can choose to see and believe and think things differently. So that's my little nugget for today. It's don't be concerned, worried, feel like something's failing because your subconscious patterning is taking a long time to release. Don't be put off the support and care and change that you're seeking to bring for your subconscious mind. Don't be discouraged when it doesn't happen instantly. Don't be discouraged when it's like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks going on and you're still finding these thoughts popping in. Like, I haven't believed this idea of narrow is the gate and cramp the road that leads to life for like nearly like 15 years. And yet it was, as I wrote, the path is easy, the path you seek is easy. It was like, it immediately popped into my head. And it's like, right, okay, so this is why done in the right way, used in a way that is helping to deprogram and decondition whilst also building up and reprogramming, affirmations are an amazing, beautiful tool. Different people work with affirmations in a different way, and different ways of expressing them can be put out and given to the subconscious mind to take them on board. And there's a lot of it's always said, oh, you need to say I am and use the present tense, and that's like great and ideal, but if the subconscious mind's really well conditioned, it's going to go, that's a load of bullshit. Hold on, no, that's not right. Because it's like, it's got however many years of patterning and programming in there that it's releasing and letting go of. So having supportive affirmations that are in both first person and third person and past and present tense and future tense, and it's like really being really supportive of your conscious mind to reprogram your subconscious mind to release the patterns and the stories and the things that you don't want to be stored in there anymore, but also finding ways to release and support them and let them go. And a really great way to support the subconscious to let go is using something like EFT to acknowledge the feelings and thoughts that we have had in the past, but also reprogram through audio and energetic means the subconscious mind to take on new stories and bring in to your energy field new ways and new patterns of being. And yeah, it's a really special way to allow the stories to come up and come out and be released. And if you want to join me for some EFT, you can join me for some group EFT, either on Zoom on a Saturday afternoon or in Sauber Bridge on a Thursday afternoon. I'll drop the links in the description below. Let me know your thoughts on this. How are you working on deconditioning and deprogramming your subconscious mind? What do you think? How do you do it? How are you managing? How long have you been at it? And you know, if there is something that you think is something that you'd like to work on, or something you'd like some extra support on, this is again another thing that I work with and support people with as a spiritual mentor and an energy healer. And I am more than happy if you wanted to book a consultation so we can have a chat and explore your unique journey and your unique energy and how the wisdom and knowledge that is out there in the energy fields can support and nurture you. So that's today's little nugget for you. That is it for today. Thank you for watching. I'd love if you would take a moment to hit the subscribe button, give this video a little thumbs up and drop me a comment and let me know what you think. And I will see you all again very soon.